Jonathan Majors and Megan Good have been on this train wreck tour since Jonathan Majors had this incident with his snow bunny, and they have been constantly in our faces about what this is, what this isn't, I mean, I just wanted to put it to rest. Now, there have been some talks about possibly bringing Jonathan Majors back into the fold after he had, after he was, I think he was acquitted or something like that. Like the girl ended up getting arrested or something.
He wasn't acquitted.
Not acquitted. Okay,
but he got charged with a lesser charge. So he got misdemeanor charges.
Okay, so I don't want to spend all day on this because I know that this is really getting annoying. To me, frankly, it's annoying. But it is new and it's news and it is in our lexicon since this is Kang and that is old girl from Shazam. And I can't see them as anything other than that. As of recently, evidently, they decide they're going to go ahead and go out and I guess call themselves getting married. And I don't know, y'all. I'm like, man, just make it stop. Talk to me.
For you, Jonathan, you found love with actress Megan Good. And I read that y'all got married yesterday. You's a married man. You's a married man. What happened here? You got to tell me about this day.
I said to Megan yesterday, I said, today might be the happiest day of my life. Yeah, I love that woman so much. So how did it happen? Well, I asked the father first, right, in Paris, if that was all right. He said, that's cool. My mother passed, and she came to the premiere, the LA screening. Yeah. We had told her that, hey, we're gonna do this thing, and we did. My mother married us yesterday. Her mother was there. Yeah. Her mother was there, and we had these rings, and we got them engraved in Hawaii. But after I spoke with the father again, we finally got to do it. But it was always a plan, So
wow. I love this for you.
All right, so I'm not whelmed, but I am underwhelmed, and I'm gonna keep it G. I rooted for John Majors so hard throughout this debacle. I mean, there was a part of me that was like, yo, forgiveness. But I mean, bruh, this very week, it was released that he was on tape talking about he strangled the girl. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, at that point, bro, it don't really matter what happened with the incident. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, like, Disney and Jonathan Majors, they have no choice but to let him go. They can't. And this resurgence that he's having with all of these headlines in the shade room, he's doing that Michael Jackson thing where you cool with Elvis Presley, them daughter and everybody, all that, but then once they come at you about your kids, all of a sudden you all black, this, that, the third. Don't come running back to the community, you know what I'm saying? And I guess for me, I'm wondering, like, what's next? Like, is anybody going to give Jonathan Majors? Is he going to get some sort of resurgence, some redemption tour? I mean, because we know it's not coming from Disney. They've completely restructured the entire Marvel script because Kang no more. But so who's the tap dance for? What is in the mind, Nolly, of their publicist saying, look, we are going to pour you into every black outlet. We are going to put you in the face of every living room until they finally accept you as a different person than the media is trying to portray you as. But then every time that happens, some bullshit come out about what he did behind closed doors. I don't know what to make of it. I don't want to spend all day on it, but we have to comment on it. And I'm just wondering, well, we don't have to, but I'm just wondering what you guys is. I gotta get a feeling where Ty is. I know. All right. Well, you know what?
That's how Dolly feels. It's like it can't do that.
Dolly's like,
I feel like, because you brought up a point about the audio coming out, and you know what I'm saying, coming out this week. The thing about it is no one, well, I at least no one on this panel is oblivious to the fact that he was guilty. That's that part, regardless of the audio, we already established his guilt. The the question is he worthy of retribution?
That's the question.
And the answer would be yes. Uh um I think there are certain crimes that we can all agree around the board are unforgivable crimes. And I would say that anything dealing with children is unforgivable. Even murder can be forgiven by the victims. It can also be forgiven by the public, depending on the circumstances. But when it comes to children, we are all, I think, all around the board, very protective of children. So whenever it has something to do with children, it's going to be very hard for the public to forgive you. But abuse is one of those things that it happens, and as much as we don't want to admit it, it happens on both sides of the fence. Sometimes you have women that abuse men, sometimes you have men that abuse women. And I think there are situations where it can be an isolated event. It could happen in your life. You could be very sorry for it, and you could change your life from that experience. Now, if there is a history of abuse where you have multiple partners that are like, he hit on me or she hit on me or vice versa, then that shows that there is a history of this type of behavior, and it doesn't look like you're willing to change it. It looks like you're willing to cement it, live in it, everything. I don't think that one moment in your life where you lose your cool, whether it be a woman or a man, with a partner who maybe you guys just weren't compatible, and maybe it just got to the point where you guys got physical. And you could be very sorry for that moment, because we know that as human beings, we can get emotional, we can get upset and angry, and in that moment, something could happen. And if that happens and you are uh completely honest with yourself, honest with the people that you've victimized, and you apologize, and I think you do whatever the necessary steps are to rehabilitate yourself, I think that everybody is entitled to at least one chance. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you said that, Serenity. Murder, like I said, murder is one of those things where it depends on the circumstances, because there was a movie, I know you saw it, Vince, and I saw it too. I think it was called Murder at 1600. I think that was what it was called. The one with Matthew McConaughey. Is that the one with no, maybe it's not Murder at 1600. Whichever, A Time to Kill. A Time to Kill. My bad. A Time to Kill. Isn't it? A Time to Kill.
With Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson. Where I killed him, and I wish they go burn in hell. Yeah, his
Hey, you got to
daughter
do it
was
right.
violated.
Yeah, I kill them, and I wish they burn in hell. You gotta.
So it doesn't change the fact that he murdered those men, but the circumstances. A lot of people, if they pay attention to that, you would say, I might have been in the same boat. So murder is, it's so that's why I'm like, there are certain situations where things can be forgivable. I'm not sitting here saying if you're a serial killer and you go murder people that you should be forgiven. But if there was a circumstance where that type of issue or type of deal happened, then I do believe that a person is of the because again, you can't, there are things that happen, you just never know. And one of those things is, like I said, if it's an isolated thing, if it's an isolated event, then yes, people are available for forgiveness. And you would hope that everybody feels like that, because you could be that person in that situation, and you would want to garner some type of forgiveness. And what if everybody felt that same way? Like, nah, Serenity killed him. She should go. She burn in hell. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just
all right. Listen, I agree with you that people are worthy of forgiveness, and that some acts are not necessarily acts that should commit you to be shot by death by execution by by a firing squad. I understand that, but you understand
that just happened, by the way, here in my state. Thank you.
You're welcome. This is America. Don't get you switch it out. But we got to understand that we're not asking Jonathan Majors to decide between whether or not he's going to. We're not saying Jonathan Majors is getting sentenced to life. We're not saying Jonathan Majors is even getting probation or house arrest. But when you do commit certain acts, unfortunately, there are brands that may not want to be associated with those types of acts. And the thing that I think is very interesting is the fact that Jonathan Majors is going through this crazy thing, which he put himself in his position. He did it. Absolutely. He fucked up. But I think why some of us are like, is because we sat and watched what happened with Ezra and his multiple charges with multiple people in multiple places. And they still stuck. Now, I'm not trying to say that was the right thing to do, but I think it confuses some people who try to put everybody on the same scale. I personally think that Jonathan Majors will have his redemption, but I don't think Disney and Marvel will be a part of it, because they have to get rid of the stink that he has put them in, because they basically based their whole phase 5 around this dude. All he had to do was not have domestic violence. That was the one thing. Just don't have bad press. Don't get anything with bullshit. Just don't do it. And the problem is, he didn't come out. This isn't a situation like, and I hate to do this comparison because it's not really fair, because I don't think drugs and abuse are the same, even though you can say those abuse drugs. But Robert Downey Jr., he got caught. He did his time. He was apologetic. He served, blah, blah, blah. He was gone. Nobody really cared about him. Then he was brought back into the fold. The difference with Jonathan Majors is it's almost like he refuses to leave the stage. He's like, look, I don't need to fix shit. I'm perfectly fine how I am. Y'all got this whole situation twisted. In fact, let me just give you a newly branded version of myself that hopefully you just accept, and just forget about that other me. There haven't really been, in my opinion, from Jonathan Majors' stance, it hasn't really been a tour of redemption, but a tour of rebranding. And I think that sweeping over the old stuff is not going to work. You have to address that shit head on. And you got to wallow in the guilt, wallow in the bullshit, and then at some point you'll get your call. I think that they're trying to force this a little bit, as they should. I think I would like to see Megan speak more than Jonathan, and I just don't feel like this is going to result in the quick, speedy recovery in his Hollywood career that he's evidently shooting for. And I honestly, I don't know how to feel about them using this relationship as a ploy to get in everybody's face about it. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't know, but that's just me.
When you say use the relationship as a ploy, yes. Now initially I do hear Nolly, but I don't see it. Yes. But when you say use the relationship as a ploy, now initially when they started dating, you were avid about the idea that this was all a facade and it was all it was staged and it was da. Now here we are marrying. Now going to marriage is an extreme step to cement a facade. So I think that these two genuinely fell in love. I think that Jonathan Major, as far as the rebranding goes, I do think that you have a point there, but I don't think that he just like kind of just rolled over it. I don't think that's the case. I think that there were a lot of interviews. He did a whole documentary piece on, I think, Prime it was, where he did the interview, which honestly I saw it and it just looked staged. It looked like he acted the whole thing, but that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. But I think that's
exactly here and there.
Well,
that's exactly the point.
No. Let me finish my point, bro. What I'm saying is that I think ultimately that I don't know how much time you want a person to spend on a negative spot in their life. Like, yes, okay, he maybe didn't give you the apology you were looking for, but he has on multiple platforms not only apologized but also asked for forgiveness from his peers, from the public, and all of the and from the woman that he loves, Megan. So she forgave him. They moved forward. Now here they are married. Now the redemption aspect of it is all going to come from his success, and that is typically how Hollywood works. So
Yes, I agree.
right now, this Magazine Dreams debut he is already being talked about for an Oscar nomination. It has not even dropped. The people who have watched it are like, this is one of his best performances, everything like that. The redemption arc comes when he wins the Oscar, if he wins the Oscar. Then all of the sudden, this guy who was at the top of the game and top of the mountain, who fell off the mountain, goes back to the top of the mountain again. Why does he go back to the top of the mountain? Because there are not a lot of male black actors that are at his plateau or his level with acting. And that's
That is
sad,
very
but
true.
it's the truth. It's the truth. So
It is true.
whether or not Marvel is not dealing with him now, and I said this when all of this stuff popped off, that they would fall back because it's the right thing to do. But when this man's success reaches a plateau again, where you can't just um uh not pay attention to what's happening around him, that's when Marvel may become interested again. It's probably not going to be in the next 6 months, might not even be in a year, but give it about 2-3 years and they
I don't.
might mellow. Yeah, I think they might mellow down and be like, yeah.
You know what? There might be some truth to that because uh, I don't think that it's going to be within enough time for Marvel to put them in anything anywhere as significant as the role that he had. But I do think that he will have a redemption arc. I do think it'll be quiet and then blown. I don't think that it's going to be the one that he wants. I think it may take longer than he wants, but I think he'll have it. But yeah, the stuff that he has set up right now, I don't think it's going to go. What say? I mean, lastly on this subject, real quick, because I want to get off it, because honestly, this is an uncomfortable subject and it's not even fun to talk about. And I got some much more fun shit to talk about, like my review of the movie Craven that I just saw just this week. And I have something to say about what's been said about it. And I also got a chance to see Gladiator, which I have something to say about this as well, since you're sitting there talking about black actors who don't have the range. But just to kind of close this part out, when we're talking about them and this actual wedding, let's talk about the actual news that happened. They're saying that they got married. And did you hear the story? He asked his mom to marry him. Like, what is happening? Like, what is this?
His
Am I
mom is a
tripping?
preacher. His mom's a pastor.
But was it sporadic? I'm gonna play this story again because I don't know if you heard, but it sounded
I
like
did.
the wedding just happened like out the blue, and he was just like, "Hey, mom, you want to marry us right quick?" Sure, and it just was like a thing. Let me just listen again.
For you, Jonathan, you found love with actress Megan Good, and I read that y'all got married yesterday. You's a married man. You's a married man. What had happened here? You got to tell me about this day.
I said to Megan yesterday, I said, today might be the happiest day of my life. Yeah, I love that woman so much.
Very Tom Cruise, by the way. I'm getting Kate.
So how did it happen? Well, I asked the father first, right, in Paris, if that was all right. He said, that's cool. My mother's a pastor, and she came to the premiere, the LA screening.
Yeah.
We had told her that, hey, we're gonna do this thing, and we did. My mother married us yesterday. Her mother was there. Yeah. Her mother was there, and we had these rings, and we got them engraved in Hawaii.
Yeah. All right. So it sounded like maybe they did plan it. It was a little bit of planning or whatever.
Yeah,
but I
he asked the father. He did it the right way. He asked her father permission to marry her. He got his mom, who was the pastor, to marry him. I mean, it's all storybook. You know what I'm saying? It's like this. It's like the Prince Charming, and you know what I'm saying. Like I met her, and it was love at first sight, and we just knew we had to do it. It was. It definitely seems staged.
All I want to say is I really wish that Megan and Megathan, I wish that we were introduced to them on different circumstances. I wish it wasn't a trauma bond. I wish that they didn't meet after this controversy. I wish that we could look at them and be happy for Black love instead of looking at them like like an attempt to kind of you know what I'm saying? Like it just so we'll see 5 years from now what they talk about, you know what I'm saying? But for right now, I'm still skeptical.
I give it
I wanted to hear from Nolly, because Nolly has from the very jump, you know, been against
I don't know if you want to hear from Nolly on this one.
Oh, I absolutely want to hear. Yeah. I mean, but it's you know, she deserves her spotlight.
About how she feels about this. Hold on, let me get this ready.
Do re mi me. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, hold on. Let me get this ready. Okay.
I am tired of Black women being forced to clean up mess. You don't want them any other time, but when you need to clean up, get you a Black woman. Why? And Megan herself not in a good place, because she fucking spent how many years with that other man? They wrote books together about their godly love. They did press tours about their godly love, and then they got divorced. So she was not in the best of places herself emotionally. So not only are we taking advantage of a Black woman, we are using her to clean up an image, because the internet was wrecking your ass for telling a white woman she needed to be your Coretta Scott. And which technically she was. She was getting her ass beat. She just wasn't Black. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. And also, I'm tired of everyone being like, but he didn't go to jail, so he's not guilty. When, if you read the court documents, he admitted to putting hands on her multiple fucking times and begged her not to go to the doctor because she doesn't lie good enough. Like, it's there. The records are there. They are public. You can request them. You can read them. They are there. Black women should not be forced to continue. It's like people who are upset at Kamala Harris for not doing anything about. Y'all didn't vote her into office. So what is she supposed to do as a private citizen? Tell me. What do you want her to do? You want her to come in and be Captain Save-A-Ho after y'all didn't want to elect her as president? Absolutely the fuck not. It is not Black women's job to clean up everybody else's mess. Okay? Black women will be the first people to spot shit and be like, you should clean that up. And then everyone will be like, no, it's fine. And then when the shit pile gets bigger, they'll be like, you're not going to help with this? For what? For why? For what? This man used her to be like, oh yeah, no, what I meant by a Coretta Scott was like, I needed a Black woman. And look at me, I'm so in love. I'm practically Tom Cruise jumping on Oprah's couch right now. Like, look at me. Sir, be so fucking for real. And I'm tired of all these women all up in the comments of all these fucking posts like, he didn't do nothing wrong. Okay, girl. Okay. I don't want to hear nothing from you when a man puts hands on you and everyone's like, oh, but he's such a nice guy, he wouldn't do that. And you're sitting there with bruises. Do not. I am tired. I'm tired of this man. I'm tired of hearing about his press tour love. I'm damn sure that prenup probably has a lot of shit in that contract, because this marriage is not going to fucking last. And it was all a plan. And when it crumbles, we're going to sit here and be like, okay, great. Can the man act his ass off? Absolutely. Is he also acting his ass off in all these interviews? Absolutely. That man can cry on cue. You think I'm gonna believe anything this piece of shit says on anybody's fucking couch? I would rather have someone pluck my eyelashes out one by one than believe a word out this man's mouth. And I need men to do better to Black women. They do not deserve to be everyone's fucking scapegoat and cleaning crew. It's just not fair. The most disrespected woman in the world is a Black woman. And we continue and we let it happen. We let them parade Black women around and do all the shit that they do. And here we are. I don't like it. I'm over it. I would like the world to move on.
Do you get your answer, Ty?
I mean, I knew what the answer was, my question to Nolly is, how long does he have to go with a clean record of not having abuse before he is eligible for redemption?
So my issue with abusers is that too many of them do not do the steps that they need to do in order to help with this, I'm gonna call it a disease, a mental illness, with this issue that they have, that they need to put hands on people. And they'll be like, oh, I haven't done it in years. Like, I'm totally good. You are not. Did you go to therapy? Did you unpack why you are the way that you are? Have you done any healing? No, you have not. And 9 times out of 10, they'll repeat it, but they get better at hiding it. 100%. And I'm talking from personal experience. I'm talking from watching other people go through it. 9 times out of 10, they don't want to do the work to get better. They just get better at lying about it. And so it could happen and we wouldn't know about it.
And
because
that's
they
kind
get
of
better at hiding it.
But that's kind of the point, right? Like right now, we don't know what therapy he's going through. We don't know if he's being counseled. We don't know that because we're not supposed to. It's supposed to be private. But more importantly, the question was, how long does he have to go without doing anything, having any episodes before he is eligible for redemption?
To me, never. To Hollywood, because he's a Black man, I'm gonna say maybe like 10-ish years when he gets to like that good Denzel age, and then he pops up in some kind of movie and everyone's like, oh wow, that was actually that was great, that was exponential, I love that. I think that's probably like average, because he's not Robert Downey Jr., he's not Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt done beat on Angelina Jolie. There's court documents, there's statements, there's so much proof on it, and that man is acting circles in Hollywood still. But he's white, so he doesn't get the same, it's not the same playing field for him. So I think Jonathan Majors is going to be stuck in this shit for a good maybe half a decade to a full decade before people are like not bringing it up anymore. He's got to find that one role that really sells Hollywood.
I think that we should stop trying to bend over backwards to revive folks who have shown the sides of them that may not necessarily jive well with the public, and start lifting up those who have gone without those issues in the public. Jonathan Majors is a phenomenal actor, but he's literally one dude.
It's a damn shame.
He's one dude, and if we're saying that we can't get by in the Black community without one dude having some turmoil and then going through it for the years and maybe not having access to possibly one of the biggest promotional marketing outlets in Disney, but still having complete freedom to walk amongst the streets, to make your own projects, as we see him promoting right now. The man ain't in jail. He can still have a career. I think we're just sad because it's not going to be with, I don't want to say sad, but we wish that the circumstances hadn't led. We wish he he didn't put us in this position to have to now reimagine what Marvel has to do.
Because we get so few of us that are
Right.
good, that are
Oh,
great,
good. Right.
that set the standard for what shit should be. Like, they set the standard for, if you give us chances, this is the shit that we could fucking do. We could be up there with you. We could beat the Marlon Brandos. Like, we could give you our versions of all these greats.
Yeah. That's the same.
But so few of us get that fucking opportunity, and then to fuck it up makes me mad. But also, I do want to address something because I keep seeing it pop up.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say this. My stance is abusers fucking suck. They suck dick. And also his ex is an asshole because she also did put hands on him as well. So they are both toxic as fuck. Do I want him to get redemption? Absolutely the fuck not. And that's just me from personal experience, having to deal with an abusive marriage myself. Like, absolutely the fuck not. No redemption. Do I think he will get redemption? Yes. Do I think it will take longer than it does white people in Hollywood? Absolutely. Him being with Megan Good, it shouldn't be a problem. But the fact that he used him being with a black woman as his press redemption tour so soon after the shit popped up, like, he didn't even wait a second.
Right.
He showed up with her in court. Like, my guy, your PR person quit because we could tell. We could tell that person quit because you did not even, you're supposed to let it breathe.
Yeah.
Then you do your redemption tour. But he was immediately like, yeah, I know I called this white woman my Coretta Scott King, but here's a black woman instead. Look at me, I'm doing so well.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think Nolly's been very
all
clear
of it is problematic
the whole time. And I gotta also say, Nolly, I can't speak to your experience, so I don't want to shun it at all. So I stand with you and how you feel on it. I don't there's other dudes, man. You had a chance. And I look at it, I'm gonna say this last thing I'm gonna say this last thing. All right. When we go to interview for a job, right? Back when we were, well, let me not say that. For those of us that interview, you know, if you've ever interviewed for a job, right, then you present your best presentation to whomever it is your employer is going to be, right?
Absolutely.
And they normally have a list, an array of candidates for that position, right? And they get to choose from the strengths and weaknesses of those candidates. And at some point in time, the employer is going to get two very similar candidates. You know what I'm saying? And he's going to have to decide which of these he wants to not only work with him, but represent his company. One of those may be very qualified, but they might have a little bit of a stain on their record. It's been expunged. They did community service. It's adjudication withheld, all the good stuff. But the other person, same exact career, same exact credentials, without that. Who gets the job? 9 times out of 10, they're going with the least hazardous option. And I think that that's what Jonathan Majors doesn't realize. He's put himself in the category of a list of folks who can be removed from consideration because of the history that he's now put in his brand. All of that stuff. Look, bro, you're not going to ever in your life get a record or story from my wife or kids that I put my hands on them. It will never happen. Or anybody. It will never, ever happen. Because I never will. Nor will I ever consider it. And so for those who think they can do things in closed doors and then they come to light, even if the girl is guilty or whatever, I'm just saying, man, this is the decision that at some point in time was made that now chickens do come home to roost. So good luck to you, bro. I do think he's going to have some good, successful projects, but it's a tough one to deal with when, especially in this post-Me Too era, when, you know, a lot of stuff's coming to light. It's not a good look. But
I just say this, man. We like as much as I support both of y'all and don't want to invalidate anything that y'all are saying. We as human beings are not infallible. So the idea that one decision can represent your entire lifespan is just crazy to me. Like that, because again, I'm a full disclosure. I was in a toxic relationship before. A very Vince knows exactly who I'm talking about. I was in extreme extreme toxic relationship where I was the abused. You know what I'm saying? Like every day, just coming in the house was tension. You know what I'm saying? But I found within myself to forgive that person, and they're a better person as you know moving forward. It just didn't work out with me and them. Like it was sometimes that you opposites don't necessarily attract all the time. It's not always the case. And you can have instances where a very bad relationship can cause you to make bad decisions. And I don't think anyone in this world is without fault in some way, shape, or form. Some mistakes are magnified on different aspects and different levels and than others, but we are all capable of making mistakes and finding redemption. We all are. So I just want to put that out there, man. That's last.
All right, I ain't try. I'm sorry. I don't. You know, I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at Skylar's comment. He said he was in a toxic relationship with Krispy Kreme. Sorry. I hope you got out of that, bro. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Yeah, what's going on, Nolly? Please. And I ain't mean for this to go this long, by the way.
Okay, so I'm gonna address this. Abuse is abuse. Assault is assault. It's not just against women, because plenty of men get abused and they don't speak up about it because we are not as kind and forgiving and empathetic towards men when they go through these situations, because things like toxic masculinity, we're like, oh, just be a man up about it. Like, no, men can absolutely get abused, but it's not for me to forgive someone else's abuser. So if his ex wants to forgive him, that is totally fine. I have forgiven my ex. Have I forgotten? Absolutely the fuck not. Not forgotten. But I've forgiven just for my peace of mind so that I can move on and I can work on my healing. My thing is, and I totally agree with Ty, humans, we are not perfect. Everyone, absolutely everyone and anyone is capable of making a mistake. Anyone and everyone is capable of being caught in a situation where their backs are against the wall and their only reaction is to lash out in a way that's not the best reaction to have. The problem is being Black in a public space. It's hard because not only do we have to be good, but we have to be 10 times better than everyone else just because we're Black. And that's where the issue is. We're put on these impossible pedestals and standards to live up to because we are always viewed as less than. Therefore, we have to work 20, 30, 40, 50 times harder than little Bobby Jean down the street because we're not afforded the same privilege, there are so many actors that I'm like, my cousin who's mute could act circles around you right now. What are you doing in this show? But because they knew a guy who knew a guy, or they're blonde hair, blue eyed, they get the role. So to be Black in the Hollywood space is hard enough. Right. So we have to meet these impossible standards in order to get anywhere, to go any place with it.
I would like to use.
That's what sucks about it.
Excuse me. I would like to use.
Sir, is there a fire in your home, sir?
The house is on fire.
Wow, you should call 911. Stop, drop, and roll, Vince. Stop, drop,